Hi, Math. I'm Andy. Today I'd like to talk about the origin of the box monster. A lot of people have been asking me, what is that little crocodile thing that you have in the background that you use as your symbol? And I just thought I'd talk about, the origins of that, just so people are aware of what I'm doing. Now, as a math teacher, not everyone loves math and not everyone gets math. That's something that I totally understand. And so I always try to come up with ways to just to help associate or relate things. Like for instance, when I try to teach geometry to students, we want to learn the difference between a complementary set of angles and a supplementary set of angles. And so one way, complementary set of angles are two angles that add together to make 90 degrees, and supplementary angles are two angles that add together to make 180 degrees. And so you might have heard this from maybe your math teacher, but complementary, because it starts with a C, one thing that we can do is we can take that C and turn it in to a 90. And so complementary angles is actually going to be 90 degrees. Now I can do the same thing with supplementary angles. The S on supplementary, I can turn that into 180. And so we kind of come up with these cheesy ways to help students remember different properties or vocabulary terms or things like that. So the origin of this box monster, as I call it, is the idea of the old joke, why is 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9, right? And so we know that 6 is a greater number, or 6 is less than 7. And so we have a symbol in math to represent this relationship. We say that 6 is less than 7. So I always taught that the inequality symbol, whether you have it one way or the other, that it always faces the bigger number. So I always turn this into a little monster, and I said the alligator eats the bigger number. And so I kind of just had fun with this one day, and I just made it 3D. And so I just kind of drew a line, and I drew like a box like this, and then I drew another box, and I just connected these two. And I said, well, the inequality symbol, the alligator eats the bigger number. And so this just kind of became like a little mascot for me. And then as a math teacher, I have students turning in papers all the time. They're giving me their homework, they're giving me their tests, their quizzes or whatever, and I always needed a place to put those. And so I always thought it would be fun to have something that students could just feed. And so I took some Baklid, and one day I just made a box monster for students to feed their homework to. So it became really easy for me to say, oh, you got something to turn into me? Well, don't hand it to me. Feed the box monster. And everyone would know what we're talking about. And so the origin of the box monster, the origin of my mascot, the origin of my logo really just came from the inequality symbol where the alligator eats the bigger number. And then I just had some fun with it. Students have kind of made me some presents and things in the past, and it just went from there. So, hi Math, I'm Andy. I hope you enjoy.